Welcome to BitBoy Crypto, home of the BitSquad, the largest and, dare I say, the smartest crypto community in all the interwebs. This is Around the Blockchain, and if you like making money in crypto, make sure you hit that subscribe button. And we got a great show today. We got some great guests. It's some of your favorite people. Back. We got CryptoJebb here. He's the smartest 20-year-old I know, at least the second smartest. And for the first time, we have Cripto Avances. We may accuse him of being in prison, but he's not. He's just in Colombia. He's down there having a good time.
That's my bad. That's
and holding it down, as always, we got BlockchainBoy. And Ben, it's his last ATB of the week. So make sure you hit that like button. Ben, OTC, yeah, you know me. He's about to go on a little vacation, so we're all going to miss him. But he will be here tomorrow morning for the live stream. Make sure you check that out. And about the show, if you like what you're hearing from the guests, make sure you hit that +1. We'll at the end of the show, whoever has the most points gets about 30 seconds to a minute. Tell the people what they need to hear. And it's going to be a great one. We're talking about the stock to flow. Is it still relevant? Is it still working? We have BTC, OTC. This is over-the-counter trades. There's been some very, very insane activity over the last 24 hours. We're going to get into that. And London hard fork to launch imminently. It's going to be, depending on what time zone, it's going to be around midnight. So some places, I think if you're in Australia, it's today. So it's happening. It is happening, folks. But we're going to go right into the market watch here. It looks like Bitcoin is holding support at 38,000. Ethereum right at 2,400, pushing at 2,500. Terra's been up on a run, up about 20%. And Telcoin and AMP both down about 10%. Jebb, I'm gonna bring it to you. We're seeing a little bit of a retracement. What are the markets telling you?
Yeah, so one of the things that we're going to talk about later in the show, so I'll briefly mention this. Ethereum's had a massive run. It ran for 12 days. We've seen Bitcoin do something similar. It's run for the last 12, 13 days or so. It topped out at 42,000. And look, guys, a lot of people are extremely excited about this, as we should be. Bitcoin, Ethereum, Cardano, we are in a very good place right now. And we are expecting that this market's going to continue to the upside. We're expecting that we're going to continue the rally. What I've been encouraging my followers and listeners to be thinking about is that whenever we went into this massive bull market at the beginning of the year, we really started in October, November territory. We rallied all the way through May or through April. We saw Bitcoin rally from $8,000 to $65,000, almost 1,000%. It rallied way too quickly. It wasn't healthy, and it needed corrections that it didn't get. So what I've been cautioning my viewers to not do is don't get so caught up in this short rally. Let's zoom out and think about the long term. We want to see this bull market kick back off in a big way and be pushing back to 100K by the end of the year. Bitcoin has rallied 25%, 30% or more in the last 14 days. What I think needs to happen and what I think will happen is we're going to see a small correction, which we've already seen the majority of. We may have found that bottom already on Bitcoin and Ethereum, but then I think we're going to continue this rally probably sometime starting closer to the end of this week, maybe even moving on into next week. I think we got great things over the next few weeks. I think we have a good reason to be excited.
Yeah, 8 to 65, like you said, it's almost 1,000%. It was way too fast, way too furious. But Bitcoin, if Bitcoin's part of your family, make sure you hit that like button. A little Dom reference there for the people. Family, Bitcoin, and I think quarter mile at a time, something like that.
The trend is done. The trend is over, guys.
It's never over. Family's never over. All right, we're gonna go right to our first topic here. It's stock to flow. Are we about to blow, or is it a no-go faux show? We don't know. So we're going to talk about that. We're breaking it down. So it's been saying stock to flow. We'll get into it. It's a number that shows how many years at the current production rate that are required to achieve the current stock. And we have a little graphic here. And right now, it's at a very, very low deflection point. It's about a pop. They call this the bullish springboard zone. And if that doesn't sound bullish, I mean, I don't know what does. So it's popping up. So, Ben, I'm going to bring it to you. Why would the production rate of Bitcoin affect price?
Well, I mean, it's just simple supply and demand. And these are things that, should be harped more on in school for kids to understand, really understand in economics. Because it's very simple when you think about it. Like the easiest thing to compare it to is oil, because oil is something where the production is very controlled. So whenever the production of gold is cut just a little bit, like 10%, the value starts to go through the roof because the demand is the same, but when there's less produced, there's less available for people to buy, but the same demand. And so people have to pay more for it. So with Bitcoin, the cut in production that occurs every 4 years due to the Bitcoin halving, that is the principal driver for the price to go up. A lot of people will point to all kinds of different reasons. It's because of adoption, or it's because, governments are talking about it, or it's because of this, or because of that, or on-chain analytics. No. The reason the price of Bitcoin goes up, we've never seen anything like it in history. The dramatic 50% cut in production that occurs every 4 years. Put in perspective, 900 Bitcoin are being minted or mined, actually. 900 Bitcoin are being mined per day right now. Starting in 2024, that number will drop to 450. In 2028, that number will drop to 225, and so forth and so on. So, I say this number a lot. But my favorite number, my favorite stat in all of Bitcoin, it's not even close. It shows the compound effect of the cut in reduction, or the cut in production every 4 years. Right now, there's about 18.75 million Bitcoin circulating.
Yep.
Bitcoin was created in 2009. In 12 years, 18.8 million Bitcoin have been produced in 12 years. Over the next 119 years, there will only be another 2.2 million Bitcoin produced. That's the compound effect of the cut in production.
Yeah, it looks like, with that, it looks like, we're poised to go over rare, just a huge run up, So it's hitting this deflection point. It's only hit this low 5 times in all of Bitcoin's history. Every time it has gone that low, it has just gone on an absolute tear past that. So I'm going to bring it to you, Cripto Avances. Is this what you would call a good bottom indicator? Is this something you would put stock in? Are we going to go up from here, or you think this is just, not really that relevant or not that accurate?
No, if it's only happened 5 times in the history of Bitcoin, and you see always when it's happened, then we saw a huge rally. So I think it will be the same. And we also have to take into account that we had never ever so much exposure of crypto, of cryptocurrency, of Bitcoin legal tender now in Latin America and El Salvador. There are a lot of countries, they're thinking about it. So I think it is more likely that it will do the same again, the same rally. And the stock to flow model until now is totally in place. So I think absolutely that will be happening the same again. We will see a huge rally.
Yeah, I think so too. So the creator of the stock to flow models, someone pseudonymously known as Plan B, BlockchainBoy. There's some B's in your name. Are you Plan B?
Well, sorry to disappoint, but I'm not Plan B.
Okay.
I kind of stay in my own little section of crypto Twitter. It gets way too toxic, way too quickly.
I had to ask. So Plan B, he's saying the price of Bitcoin is going to reach about 135,000. He's maintained it. When we dumped down, the high 20s, 29, 28.5, he still was sticking by his gun, saying, no, it's 135. We were talking about it before the show. Do you think 135 is just a little too high, or do you think,
personally,
we still...
I'm in the camp of, if we're going to see Bitcoin return to an all-time high this year, I think it's probably going to be between, 95 to 120. But I'm still not convinced that we're out of the woods yet. Compared to 2017, the institutions control a lot greater amount of this market, and you can see that in the volume. A lot of this right now is just, the institutions manipulating it up and down so they can kind of, dump on retail. And right now, retail is kind of just sitting on the sidelines. People are not really sure what to do, whether it's going to go up or down. Personally, I've been buying ever since Bitcoin dipped into the 20s, but I've been selling my positions after like a 30-40% gain in some cases because I don't know for sure. I'm staying kind of on the sidelines. I'm buying a little bit right now, just some of the major large cap altcoins in case we do see some upside potential. But if we break under 36, then that's not good. And I think we'll just go back to that channel that we were in before. So by no means am I don't know. I think Plan B is a lot more likely to happen than not, but I think there's a lot more factors now.
Okay, I like that. We have another graphic here. It's the one that most of y'all have probably seen before. It has the dots and everything. And if you look at, to me, it looks kind of similar to the 2013 here. It looks like it might have a little bit of a retracement than the nice parabolic run that we're used to seeing at the top of the markets here. So, Jebb, looking at this graph and everything, 28.5 is our recent low. Do you think we still might retrace some, or is it going to be up from here? Was 28.5 the low? Are we going to dip below 34 again?
At this point, 34, it's interesting you mentioned that number. 34,000 from a technical point of view is actually one of the most important levels that I'm looking at right now, and here's why. The rally that we saw from $29,000 recently all the way up to $42,000, the 61.8% Fibonacci retracement level for that rally is sitting at roughly $44,500. So if we start going below 44.5, then I'm starting to get worried about the new uptrend that we're in. However, of course, we did set a new local high. $42,000 was higher than the high that we set about a month and a half ago at 40,000. So I'm actually very excited for this rally, but I still want it to prove it to me. I want to see us continue up to the upside for the next couple of weeks before I start betting the farm on it. As far as the stock to flow model is concerned, I've talked about this at length. In fact, I'm making an entire video on it here pretty soon, so make sure to watch out for that. We have a lot of information on why Bitcoin is valuable. I talk about this all the time. It's valuable because it has a limited supply. Packaged in with that, we have predictable supply increase, which is something that most currencies don't have. They'll inflate 2% one year, 10% the other year. So we have a limited supply that is deflationary in nature. It's not actually deflationary. The increase in inflation is logarithmically slowing down over time. Doesn't matter. The point is that limited supply and everything around it is what gives it value. Its decentralization defends it. It's like the military defending a nation. The nation is what's valuable. The military is defending the value. The value of Bitcoin is this limited supply. The decentralized nature defends that from outside factors. What I find very interesting about stock to flow is that it's been almost perfectly accurate for the last 10 years that we can do back analysis on it. The problem that I have with stock to flow and plan B is that if you extrapolate it too far, eventually you start getting $10 million, $100 million price targets in the next 20 years because it's going exponential, right? As we're seeing the halvings take place every 4 years, we're seeing the supply increase on Bitcoin get cut in half. So when do we say that enough is enough and we're not going to follow plan B anymore? We're not going to follow stock to flow. I think that we are going to follow it this halving. I think we're absolutely going to $130,000, maybe not by the end of the year, but I think it's definitely going to happen in the next 18 months. It probably will happen by the end of Q1 next year. When do we get off the stock to flow train? When do we say, okay, stock to flow is predicting $100 million on Bitcoin? Are we not going to follow that? I think that the metric that you showed earlier on that chart, where we're seeing one of the lowest distribution levels, one of the lowest levels that we've seen for stock to flow in a very long time, is incredibly powerful. And it's just another reason why we should be investing in Bitcoin. I think right now is a prime time to be buying into Bitcoin based off of stock to flow models, based off the stock to flow model. The only thing I caution against, and it probably won't happen this halving, it might not even happen next halving, is eventually the market will decouple from it and we won't be able to effectively use it as a price prediction tool anymore, is what I think.
All right. I like it. I like it. And in the chat right now, we're just hit 1,000. We got about 5,000 people watching. If you like Plan B, if you've ever used Plan B, make sure you hit that like button. You know what I'm talking about here. So, Ben, we're talking about the prices here, and, you know, he kind of mentioned it, compared it to a train. And trains, they have a lot of momentum. So we've talked about, you know, people are going to try to pump the brakes on Bitcoin's price momentum. You know, we've seen parabolic, you know, rises. It's just the momentum carries it up. So what do you mean by price momentum, just for the people at home who don't know?
Well, I mean, just the sentiment of Bitcoin, which direction that it's going. Right now, it feels very bullish. Even though we've had a pullback, a retracement, it feels bullish. And it's easy to look at the chart. I mean, and really, you can trace it all back to the technicals. I mean, we had a higher high. You know, we had a higher high for the first time in this downtrend, where we bounced up higher than that initial, you know, dead cat bounce after the first crash. So, you know, that's what it has to do with, is the momentum of which way it's going. But the thing is I remember, you know, there's a video a long time ago where Crypto Daily explained in 2018 what the institutions did at the end of 2017 with the futures contracts, was that the institutions, they have the power to take a lasso and move it and strap it around the train and pull it back to them. And that's what we've seen in this pullback, you know, in not the pullback one right now, but in the pullback since $64,000, is the institutions manipulated it down so they didn't miss the train. They wanted to get more of it. But now, like BlockchainBoy alluded to, now we're seeing manipulation probably heading back in the other direction, so it can give, you know, ROI to a lot of investors and the hedge funds and things like that. So it does swing both ways. People talk about manipulation, and it's not always to the downside.
Yeah.
Usually it is, but not always.
Yeah, usually. I mean, the way I like to compare it to gasoline, when there's a big thing where gas spikes in price, it'll shoot up very quickly, but then it takes a long, long time, sometimes even years, to come back down to normal levels. So it's pretty funny how they like to manipulate that. Well, let's go to our second topic here, BTC, OTC. An OTC stands for over the counter, and we're referencing a 90s rap song by Naughty by Nature. I just realized some of y'all might not even know what we're talking about. But an
I wasn't
OTC
born in the 90s.
Jeez. Oh God. If you're born in this millennium, go ahead and hit that like button. All right. In OTC deal, crypto exchanges, they don't act as mediators. They're just it's between the buyer and the seller directly. You don't see it on exchange. You won't see it on a volume data, but they are able to track it in some ways. So it looks like Bitcoin investors moved $130 billion in Bitcoin just over the last couple days. Of that volume, less than 1% was actually on exchanges. So we're seeing massive, massive whale moves. Last time we saw a movement like this, it was, I hate to even say it, but it was when the Muskrat bought for his company there. So I'm bringing it to you, Cripto Avances. Ronnie, at what level do people want to use an OTC versus an exchange? Or why would they want to use an OTC versus an exchange?
Yeah. I think these are all big institutions, companies, corporations, like MicroStrategy, all the big institutions that now want to get into crypto. So they cannot just sit in the office and open a Binance account and take 20 billions and buy Bitcoin. So they must find other ways. They must find trading desk, OTC desk. They have access to bank accounts. They can send wire transfers and then do the deals with them. On the other side, the people, they are into these institutions. They don't know how to buy Bitcoin. They don't know what is a wallet, a cold storage or whatever, so they must rely on this kind of trading desk. And I found it very, very interesting that we are now able to see these big movements, because before, all the institutions, all the big players, they was manipulating the market. They was saying, remember the blue chip bubble. They was saying, oh no, this blue chips, they're not good. Don't buy them all. In the newsletters, oh, it's not good. It's going to crash. Sell it, sell it, sell it. And they was accumulating, but we didn't know, because there was no transparency. Now, in the blockchain, we can see everything. So now we can see what's the smart money doing, and we can just follow them. So that's amazing, and that's why we are all in blockchain, and that's why I'm so excited about it. So bottom line is that on one hand, I think it's good, because if you see this large amount of money going into crypto, on the other hand, I'm a little concerned, because if you have people, institutions, entities, they have so large amounts of crypto, of Bitcoin, they can easily manipulate the market, and it's something I'm concerned about a little bit.
Like we said in the first segment, we don't like manipulation, and oftentimes they'll go through an OTC so they don't change the price drastically, which, if you're buying $50 billion worth of Bitcoin, it's going to spike up in price. So they don't want their last Bitcoins. They want all the Bitcoin to be the same price. So BlockchainBoy, I'm going to bring it to you, CryptoQuant CEO, Ki Young Ju. They believe some big names are going to announce some large Bitcoin announcements soon. They're going to, whether it's MicroStrategy, whether it's a tech company, whether it's a sovereign nation, we don't know. Do you have any kind of ideas, like where do you think this is going to land? Do you think this is just like Wall Street?
I think it's very premature to try and guess that. I mean, the whole Amazon rumor that was going around like last week was pretty demonstrably false, in my opinion, and that just didn't go anywhere. So I'm not speculating anything. I do think if it's just MicroStrategy, people might not get as excited, because that effect has kind of already been worn off. Like, love Michael Saylor, but like we know he's just continuing to buy Bitcoin. If it's someone like Apple, or if it's another big tech company or a sovereign nation, then that's a very bullish catalyst. And I think that even short term, it's great long term, but even short term, that's extremely bullish. I'm not speculating right now, because I have no idea. It is complete speculation. But I do know that this amount of money being moved in the last few days is going to be pretty massive, regardless of what happens. Like, it's definitely something.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see in the coming weeks, and with the earnings season and everything, if it's a publicly traded company, they have to divulge. They can only keep it secret for so long, unless it's like a SpaceX, in which case they can definitely keep it secret. All right, so not only is it the CTO or the OTC, we're seeing exchanges, we're seeing huge outflows. The July data is in for the exchanges, and it looks like over 100,000 Bitcoin removed out of exchanges, according to Glassnode. This is the highest ever Bitcoin outflow we've seen since November 2020, and we know what happened in November, and December, and January, February. We had that huge run up. So I'll bring it to you, Ben. I mean, are people finally listening to, don't sell your Bitcoin, don't sell your ADA, don't sell your ETH? I mean, are we going to see a spike?
They've been listening to it ever since we started that message. And look, there's certainly other people out there like Lark and George who, told their people not to ever sell, and that's good. I know there's other ones. I mean, there's just two that I named. But the fact is, we started really preaching that on this channel probably about 2 weeks after the crash in May. And we've seen that resonate. And we know that it's worked because the manipulation target was $28,000. And you know what? It never actually hit $28,000. I don't think it did. Did it hit 27.9 at some point? What was the actual low? Let me double check that before I say it.
28.5,
28.7,
something like that.
Yeah, 28.726. They never got it to 28,000. Meanwhile, you got all these people, that are so distracted by these low calls, these low numbers, talking about, it's going to go to 20K or it's going to go to 9K or it's going to 14K. People just throwing out whatever they think. But you got to understand that there's been a massive plan underway for a long time. And we know that it worked because they never hit the target. The target from the big banks, the hedge funds, the institutions, the manipulators, your Guggenheim partners, your Scott Menards, it was $28,000, and they never hit it. And they've been so frustrated by that. But the time for this bull run is nearing an end. In the next few months, it will be over. We will head into a bear market. So they just ran out of time. They ran out of time to get the price going in the right direction. But we're so proud of our community and so proud of Bitcoin, Ethereum holders everywhere that waited for this moment. We told you in the middle of July it was going up. July 20th was when we started the ascent back up to the mountain, and we're nowhere close to finished yet.
Yeah, we're just getting started. We're just getting started. We're still climbing the peak, people. At least that's what I believe. So I was looking at some of the entity adjustment numbers, and entity is going to be one of these large exchanges. We're seeing the transaction count still is a little bit down from the peak. It's higher than last month. So this is, what's happening on Coinbase, what's happening on Kraken. So our highest level was in February. Jebb, what do you think it would take to reach these February levels? I mean, is it if the price spikes, everybody gets excited again, or do we need to see some sort of institution enter?
Yeah, so the institutions are important, and I think that is something that has been hammered home, that this is the year of the institutions. We are seeing so much money flowing in. And by the way, this is off topic, but it's really important, so I'm going to mention it briefly. We are seeing major companies jumping into cryptocurrency and now nations jumping into cryptocurrency. Keep in mind, that doesn't happen overnight. Talks start about that kind of stuff years in advance. Think about the kind of stuff that's being talked about behind closed doors at companies like Apple, Amazon, Facebook, all these major, well, Facebook's already in crypto, but think about what those companies are talking about right now for 2-3 years down the line. A lot of foundations are being laid. Anyway, I asked her the question, to get back to those transaction numbers, absolutely we need a lot more retail in, because a lot of those transaction numbers are not major companies. As we're talking about here, they go and buy all their cryptocurrency on OTC, because if you bought $50 billion on exchange, hell, even $500 million on exchange, you don't need that much to move the market a lot. They drive the price up on the exchange, and they would never get the low prices that they desperately want. That's why they try to manipulate it down towards those levels that Ben was talking about. To get those transaction numbers back, we need to keep doing exactly what we're doing. Hodling our cryptocurrency, not selling, keeping our eyes on the prize and our head in the sky, because everything's going to be just fine, guys. Look, Bitcoin has a very bright future. We're talking about stock to flow. We're talking about outflows from people hodling. We're talking about more confidence in the cryptocurrency space right now than perhaps ever before, maybe even more now than we saw back in April. There is so much confidence in the long term on Bitcoin, and people realize that. They refuse to be shaken out of their projects. Some people sold, but enough people held that it showed us that people believe in Bitcoin. What I think is going to happen is that Bitcoin is having this little corrective movement right now. It's resetting, it's cooling off, it's stopping for a pit stop, it's getting gas and everything and some snacks from a Circle K, and it's about to keep going. We're probably heading towards $50,000 in the next couple of weeks. That's where I think we're going, and I think we're going to keep going from there. In fact, I could very easily see us in the next few months going back to all-time high in 100K by the end of the year. Now, I don't necessarily agree with you, Ben. I don't think the bull market is going to be over personally in, I think, late September. Is that where you guys are predicting it? I know you guys are calling that based off of the halving cycles. I think there's there's more going on there than that, but we can talk about that at another point.
No,
I think
we
that
won't.
we have a.
We won't. I'm right and you're wrong. Stop.
You're wrong, Ben. We're gonna fight about it. Where's paintball, by the way? Was that ever
Well,
gonna happen? I don't know.
I maybe, but listen, heads I win, tails you lose. I win either way. If it keeps going up for the rest of the year, then that'll be just
yeah.
fine
Seriously, if it keeps going up, then great. I am looking forward to it. Look, guys, massive price actions coming to Bitcoin, and all of this news that we're talking about is just backing that up. So I've made my point on that.
I'll make this point real quick. Speaking of fighting Ben, BlockchainBoy, you had a little bit of a challenge to throw Ben's way. Let's go ahead and get that out there. Let's put it out there for the people. What do you got going on?
Well, when the Mach-E is delivered, who knows when that's going to be? We should do a little racing event. See if I can dust you.
Oh,
okay, all right. Well, the Lambo.
I think that'll be a fun event. You know,
I got a new picture of the Lambo coming soon, so maybe I don't know if I can show it here. But it'll be here. We're less than 3 months on the countdown. They got to wait 3 months to sell it, so you're not going to beat the Lambo. For sure.
Right.
My Camry's got paddle shifters. That's all I'm saying. I bet I could.
It's got paddle shifters on the Camry.
It's got paddle shifts in a Camry. I got paddle shifters, dude. It's great. It's fantastic.
Jebb, you are cutting edge.
Crazy.
Man.
all right. Well, you know what
Cutting
content know what to look for in the future. We might have a racing video, so I'm looking forward to it. Let's go ahead and get. Let's go ahead and get to our third topic here. We got the London hard fork. It's about to launch. But real quick, I want to get into the chat. How many? We just passed 1.7K. We got 7,000 people watching.
We can do better than that.
We can get up to 2,000. Let's get up to 2,000 for sure. I know we can. Go ahead, throw it up there, BJ. I know you want to throw it up there. It's the London hard fork is popping up. Up there it goes. You know,
there we go.
Got to throw in the prerequisite. All right. So the London hard fork is going to change the way transactions are processed on the Ethereum network. Right now, it's to make sure your transaction gets processed. It's almost like a bidding system where some users might overpay to make sure that their transaction goes through. I know I usually, as long as it's cheap, I'll usually click fast all the time. I mean, I've paid $70 gas fees before. I mean, we were all there early in the year. So, I mean, it's in crypto, you kind of get numb to it. You kind of get used to it. If you like ADA and you have, FUD on Ethereum, make sure you also hit that like. But I want to ask you, Cripto Avances here, if everyone, so they have a priority fee that you can add on top. It's going to be a small amount that increases the odds that you get chosen more quickly. So it's a priority fee. I mean, if we have priority fee, isn't that the same thing as like everyone just clicking fast on their ETH transactions? I mean, is this going to change gas fees? I mean, are we really going to go lower if everyone just clicks, the most expensive option?
Yeah, I think the high gas fees, that's the biggest problem of Ethereum. And this is always the problem that other projects attack to say, oh, we are the Ethereum killer, because we have lower fees.
Yeah.
So they must definitively change this. I don't think that it will be the same. I think it will be much, much lower transaction fees. There will be much, much lower transaction fees. And it's insane, as you said. I also paid sometimes for transaction $70, $80. So if you are a large investor, so you don't care, if you move $10,000, $20,000, $100,000. But most of the people, they start to enter into crypto space and they say, okay, let's buy some of these DeFi coins, and then, oh wow, I have to pay $80 on transaction fees. I thought crypto is better than a bank, So that's a huge problem. I think this London hard fork, there will be this change that Ethereum needs to lower the gas fees and to not have this large problem that can or that makes impossible to use it for a lot of things, So yeah, I'm really excited about it, and I hope that this time they will accomplish the hard fork, because it was always longer time to wait for it. So yeah, I hope this time it will be.
We'll see. I mean, we're going to find out very, very shortly. Blockchain. I'm going to ask you a question, but real quick, Twitch. They said, yeah, but does that Camry mine Bitcoin at the same time? So
it does actually. It does. It actually does. Yeah.
BlockchainBoy, I want to ask you. So we had a record number of daily candles for Ethereum. We had the dirty dozen there. Boom, green candle, just kept happening. Was that just the EIP like 1559 protocol? Was that just priced in because of that? or I mean, do we still maybe have some run up or is the market just waiting to see if it works?
I feel like it was very much priced in. It didn't help that Bitcoin also pumped, for like 7-8 straight days. And I think that really kind of, just like with eGold, Elrond, they're launching their 100-day campaign or something. A lot of these projects that have stuff coming up, a lot of this is priced in because the volume is just so low. I think people are just speculating on it right now. Personally, I think everyone should just use Matic or Polygon, the Polygon ecosystem, because that's ultimately the best way to use, to use Ethereum is to use the second layer solutions like that, or just use BNB. Shout out to InfinityPad. But personally, I think until Ethereum really does become like quote unquote deflationary with EIP 1559, and we start to see sort of a supply shock, the long-term effects of that won't be happening too soon. I think it remains to be seen. Every project has their ups and downs, but Ethereum still struggles with those gas fees. And just like you're saying, if everybody overpays, are we really paying for better, speed? At that point, it's like, why not just click fast?
Yeah, same thing. Or I agree. So he said, supply shock. So it's going to reduce the number of Ethereum that are usually put out onto the market. A base fee is going to be paid to the miners. So supposedly that's where the miner revenue, that's how the price will decrease, is ETH will just start disappearing. We're going to see, there's different numbers. Some people are saying, 1.6 million. Dune Analytics ran a simulation where if they would have done the last 12 months, it would have gone down 2.9 million coins. So Jebb, I want to ask you, so we have Ethereum circulating supply. It's around 115 million. Would 2 or 3 million create a supply shock? Would that change the price, you think?
Well, I think the thing that's more interesting here, so you have to look at it like this, because we actually covered that article on our show this morning. Dune Analytics predicted that, I think it was 2.5 million ETH or whatever would be burned, but the main point that they were making in that article wasn't even the total supply reduction. It was the percentage increase being reduced. They were saying that backtesting on the last year of Ethereum would have seen a 70% drop in the supply increase on Ethereum, which is like a little bit more than a halving event on Bitcoin, is essentially what we're about to see tomorrow or today in Australia for Ethereum. We're basically about to see something akin to a halving coming into Ethereum, because whenever a halving event takes place on Bitcoin, the reason it's so powerful is not because Bitcoin's being burned, it's because the amount of Bitcoin coming into the ecosystem is being slowed down. So that's what we're seeing, and that's why I think I agree with BlockchainBoy. I think we probably are going to see some kind of a supply shock on Ethereum, and what we mean by that is we're probably going to see some kind of event very similar to what we see when a halving takes place, because so much of that increased supply is going to be reduced. And the other thing that people need to keep in mind with this is that it's a very bullish thing for the fundamentals of Ethereum, because this is one of the foundations that Ethereum 2.0 is going to be built on top of. I, as a major Ethereum holder, am very excited about this, because a lack of consistency in the fee structure in Ethereum is one of the big hindrances towards the adoption of ETH. So I personally think that this is a good thing for the tokenomics of the cryptocurrency, if you will, and also for the fundamental development.
All right.
Well, I think those, if I can add a little thing there, not only is the supply of Ethereum being reduced, but I think one of the major things next year, which is why I think the bear market might be shorter this time around, once a United States Bitcoin ETF comes out, the amount of Bitcoin available on exchanges and being produced, I mean, that's going to be drastically reduced as well if they're just swiping dozens and dozens of Bitcoin a day off the table. So supply shock, and we were talking about this in Discord, it's crazy the potential supply shocks that are going to happen over the next 12 to 18 months. It's going to be crazy.
Yeah, we'll see. Well, let's end it with the rapid fire question here. So we have some people saying the proof of work, proof of stake is not going to work. Ethereum is not going to be able to move to proof of stake. I'm sure BJ, our technical director, he's one of those. Charles Hoskinson, I think even maybe Richard Hard was saying this. So he's grinning maniacally over there, if y'all were wondering. So I'm going to ask everybody real quick, will we have proof of stake early next year? Cripto Avances, I'll start with you. Will we have proof of stake, you think?
Yeah, I think absolutely this is possible. They are working a long time and they're planning it a long time. So I'm confident that they will.
He's betting on Vitalik, maybe not betting on his bars, but he's betting on the tech. Jebb, are we going to have it early next year, you think?
I don't know when exactly they're planning on launching it. I don't think they're going to have it out by the early next year, to be honest with you. I don't see that happening now.
Okay. All right. Ben, what do you say, man? We know you. What do you say?
Yeah, well, I've been pretty strong on this. I don't believe it's coming in 2022. I think we will get it in 2023. However, in 2021, I will be getting this.
All right. You get a point.
That's my
Just for
Lambo.
that.
That's it right there. That's it right there. That's
Huracan. Lamborghini
Yeah,
Huracan.
straight-
That's that is a Huracan.
Is that
You're
a
right.
Performante?
It's STO. It's
Yeah.
STO.
Oh, it's an STO.
It's brand new one. So
looks
just
like a
rolled off the
Batmobile.
truck. It's
All
pretty
right.
sexy.
Nice.
So I just wanted to flex on my haters.
Great.
All right, Blockchain Boy. what would you say? Are you betting on Vitalik, or does dancing throw you off there? Oh,
Listen. I don't think any deadlines in crypto right now will be hit as far as like any.
Yeah.
I mean, smart contracts for Cardano have been pushed back so many times. You know, it's like the smart contracts went to get the milk and never came back. You know what I'm saying? Listen, I think it's coming, but it's not. We're not nearly there yet. We're not going to see it next year. Maybe
But he gets smoked.
2023.
yeah. Look. My dad's out. He's coming back. Okay, he said he's getting
He's
a
coming
pack of
back.
smokes. He had to go to the other store. You know, he couldn't find the
Had to go down the
Parmalat.
street. They were out. They were out.
Yeah.
They're out.
He has to get like the light 100s. Yeah, they're just hard to find.
Oh my
Okay, that's
God.
all. All right. Well, that's all we. All right. On that note, that's all we got time for today. Looks like CryptoJebb is our winner. So we're gonna let you tell the people what they need to hear, man. What do we need to know?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first of all, thank you very much for having me back on. I should have my camera fixed by tomorrow. And thank you guys so much, everybody who tuned in. Look, I didn't come from a whole lot. I have a very interesting past. And one of the things I learned in the last 4 years that I've been in crypto, because my 4th birthday in crypto was just a couple of days ago, is that if you bet on one thing, you pick something like a Bitcoin and you bet on that horse, you're going to be very glad you did. The 2 things I bet on that put me where I am today, and everybody around this table can say the exact same thing. We bet on crypto and we bet on ourselves, and we invested in the 2, and we're better for it. So make sure you invest in Bitcoin, make sure you invest in yourself, and make sure you invest in that like button.
Oh, we like it. Hit that like button. And Ben Armstrong versus his son in a race. Gonna see it soon. And that is all we got time for today, BitSquad. Easy out.